to me. My senior year, I was voted, co-lineman of the year, and but again, I was good enough to be a solid player. That's what I try to tell kids now. Football's not for everybody, and the ability to go to the next level requires a lot of work and ability, and so. I got a few awards and a little, but I was offensive lineman. We said several times this is no cupcake zone. The truth of the matter is I was offensive lineman, so you didn't see my name in the paper a whole bunch of anything like that.
Okay, so you were just in the trenches.
In the trenches,
just
baby.
in the trenches. Okay, I got you. Did you have any opportunities to go to the next level though?
I had a couple little combines. Not the actual NFL combine, but there are a couple of little regional combines that I could go to, and I went and visited a couple teams. But, actually my heart just wasn't into the business of football. I just, if I'm being brutally honest, a little sensitive at the time and didn't really like the business of football. I didn't like the idea that they would control everything about my life, and regardless of how hard I worked or what I did, at the whim of you're a half inch too short, we're gonna cut you, was not appealing to me. So okay. I had a degree. I earned my degree in 4 years, where a lot of my teammates didn't do what they were supposed to do in the classroom. So I didn't feel any pressure to have to be a professional player.
Okay. So when you were done, you were just done.
When I was done. I mean, my wife and I was already married. Kathy and I were already married by then, and so we decided we wanted to get out and move away from our parents, and so I was fine with leaving football.
Okay. So what was your first job out of college?
I sold cars for about 2 weeks, and I realized that my personality and my faith wouldn't allow me to be the kind of person I needed to be in order to be a successful car salesman. Now, I sold a few cars, but I wasn't a successful car salesman. And it turns out that I was led to meet a guy that was brothers to the guy that hired me in my first real job, and that was assistant in football. Okay. I was, just being honest, and my wife can attest to this. I was just at home every day looking at the newspaper, drinking a 40. Yeah. This is 96, so that was that was okay. I hope this don't offend nobody.
So you were drinking a 40. Before the hair, did you have a Jerry curl?
I had hair then.
Did you have a Jerry curl?
No, I didn't have a Jerry. Okay. Not at the time, but I had one before. Being honest.
What were you listening to? Ice Cube?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were. Yeah, was that your favorite rapper?
No, I was Poison Clan. Poison Clan was the, who I.
How you know about Poison Clan being a Bama?
What?
Oh man!
Come on, man.
JT Money.
JT Money.
Oh man.
Okay, so
I'm very surprised about that. I'm very surprised.
Don't be surprised, man.
Yeah.
Hey, we do get music in Alabama, bro.
Okay.
It ain't
really.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, it ain't just Leonard Skinner.
No. I mean, I no lie. I own the Garth Brooks album.
Yeah. Now, this is no cupcake zone. Have you, in Alabama, doesn't really have like the history of being, let's just say, what's a appropriate word?
This is no cupcake zone, dude. Just say it.
Diverse. Have you ever had any situations where you've been in Moorhaven, so there's people out there like that too. Yeah. But I'm talking about Alabama's on a whole different level. Have you ever had any situations where there was a flag flying on the back of a truck, dude. Some real music, and then a couple people drinking 12 packs of Natty Ice come at you for particular reason other than you being who you were?
Oh, routinely. The stereotypes are born from truth. Okay, so it's not made up. It's definitely like that. Now, there's some really, really good people.
Yeah.
There's some really, really good people, but there's also some people that for the sheer nature of the color of your skin, they assume that they're better than you are.
So, have you ever heard this phrase before? These couple phrases. What you doing around here, boy?
Yes.
Okay. What you doing around these parts?
Yes.
Have you ever seen a cop with a nightstick going like this? What you doing here?
No.
Okay.
But I have been in a bar where the guy said, "We're not serving him in here."
What?
And we had to leave.
Wow.
The gentleman that helped kind of raise me, white gentleman, whatever, was really good to me, and I appreciate him. But he took me into an old country bar, and they were going to get a beer or whatever. I wasn't old enough to drink, so I wasn't there to drink. But he told them that he wasn't going to serve them while I was in there.
Wow.
And made us leave.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Alabama, baby.
Alabama.
Roll Tide.
Yeah. Hey, that's funny. My last interview was somebody from Auburn. So, hey, I hope he's listening. And one of my good friends is ex-Auburn Tiger, Clifton Robinson. He was out there. Hey, talk about how you got into high school coaching.
Yeah, to go back to my story. Mm-hmm. So I was sitting on the chair, drinking a 40, reading the newspaper, circling ads of, try to get a job.
Right.
And the little small town, in north of Gainesville, Trenton High School was advertising for a head coaching position in the newspaper, in the Gainesville Sun. And so, I didn't have a job. I said, heck, I've been in football long enough to know a little bit about, what's going on with the game and this, that, and the other. So I sent him my resume. And from that moment on, I was hooked. I was bit. I didn't look back. I had gotten the number of the guy, the guy that was the brother of the first John Clifford, who the first head coach I worked for at PK Young. Okay. But I hadn't made any contact or reached out or anything like that. But when I saw that job, I applied for it, and when they sent me the thin letter and said, "You're about 12 shades too dark for us," I went over and talked to Coach Clifford and took an assistant job with him that the spring of '97.
Oh, okay. So you came from a national championship team,
right?
Why not just use the fact that you were on a national championship team? You're from a coaching staff that had Gene Stallings on there, which major credibility, and just rolled that out and got a cushy job being a graduate assistant. Went from college to college until you could get a nice cushy coordinator job and eventually head coaching job. Why didn't you take that route? Why college? Why high school?
I told you my wife and I moved away from Alabama to kind of grow our own roots, to kind of get away from our family. The reality is he was an assistant with Dabo. Woody McCorvey, who's now his kind of his right hand man, his administrative director, told me I should continue to go to school. I should go ahead and start graduate school, and they would have paid for it, and I would have done something like that. But I was really eager to get away from school. But the reality is, I sit back and I saw so many guys that took advantage of that, and I said, I felt like not that I wouldn't use it or wouldn't be that kind of guy, but at the same time, I knew that I had the ability to go out and do what I wanted to do on my own. And like I said, at the time, coaching wasn't even a thought at the time. I was really disillusioned with the business of football. So right then, I separated myself, mm-hmm. and then I never really once Kathy and I were together by ourselves and depending on one another, I never saw that as really an option.
Okay. That's fair. So, your coaching style. Coaching style. What kind of offensive philosophy do you employ, and what you plan to employ with lately?
Well, we have a, when you study the kids from before, the type of kid, we have an athletic predisposition. We got guys that can run or whatever. They may not have the football experience and the years in the trenches like I have.
Well, let me preface this question like this.
Okay.
Are you gimmick offense or are you smash mouth?
Well, I mean, it depends on what you define as gimmick.
I'm talking about spread offense, like shifting people everywhere, or the opposite.
Okay, well,
high formation, fullback, lineman. Just you ain't gonna stop us. Pound you.
Okay, no cupcake, right?
Yeah.
So, would you the description you just made? Would you say that describes Baylor's offense?
Well, that's funny because the last game of the year, they were that smash mouth. Because they ran the ball down that one team. I forgot what team it throw. They set like a record. They ran down their throat.
Right. So Baylor's a spread team, but they run the ball about 67% of the time. So it'll, again, to answer your question, we're not a gimmick team. We're a disciplined, hard-nosed football team. We are going to make people submit to our will.
Okay.
We're going. And we'll do it in a couple different ways, but not complicated, straightforward, disciplined, high-level execution, and yes, physical, offensively physical, defensively physical, special teams physical. Now that doesn't mean we gotta, beat ourselves up every day or go around and lead with a head and get hurt or anything like that. But we're gonna be physical. Okay. We're gonna hit people in the mouth. Yeah. Like I told you about, if you play some Leonard Skinner in here, I may in Sweet Home Alabama, I may run into somebody hard
because across town, Naples High School.
Here we go.
They've been running the same offense for how many years now? And there's no gimmick about it.
Nope.
We line up in the veer and we run it down your throat. Okay.
I see. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that, and I'm happy that they've had some success.
Yeah.
Because that only, when you want to be the best, you have to beat the best.
Yeah. So talk real quick about your defensive philosophy.
Defensive philosophy is similar. We want to be physical and aggressive. We want to know more about what we do and how we do it, and challenge you to be successful on the offensive side of the ball.
Well, okay. I got you. Okay, let's put it so in layman's terms,
okay.
Or not layman. Like we're going to try to put it in layman's terms. Okay. You're giving me I know you're not going to give up your offensive secrets.
No, there's no secrets.
Okay.
People out there, there are no secrets to football.
All right. You got Monty Kiffin, right? He ran the cover 2 type defense, right?
Right.
He wasn't no blitzing. We're gonna force you to beat us. But we're not gonna make any mistakes.
Number 3 and number 4.
We're gonna tackle good and all that.
Yeah.
And then you have other defensive coordinators that are blitz happy. Mm-hmm. They're bringing it.
Right.
Like Pittsburgh, Blitzburg.
Right.
Where do you fall on that realm?
We're probably in the middle. We're gonna stop the run. We're gonna be physical and hard nosed downhill players. We're gonna, you mentioned those cats up the street. I only been here a few weeks and I already don't like them.
You better walk light.
I'm just telling you. It is what it is.
You better walk light.
It is what it is.
You better walk light.
They think they're better. They think they're better than us, and we're gonna have to, actually show. So we're gonna take away. We're gonna make you do something other than what you want to do. So they want to run the ball down their throat, then they're gonna have to do it. We're gonna put 8, 9 in the box and make them do something other than that, and dare them to be physically more present than we are.
Oh boy, you better walk light on those statements, man.
I ain't scared,
I'll
dog.
give you a chance to retract those statements right there.
No need.
Okay,
no need.
all right.
I mean,
all
I'm
right,
not making it. I'm not saying anything that my kids won't desire to back up.
Oh, absolutely, man. I appreciate the confidence
right.
and the candor that you use on that. But have you had a chance to, speaking of offense, have you had a chance to talk to Jacques Carter?
Yes. I usually go to lunch and mingle around and talk with the guys. He and I texted a couple times. And so we started that relationship kind of thing. And unfortunately, I came into a situation where the guy that is auditioning to be our offensive coordinator has a really, really good relationship with Jacques. So I'm not worried about him understanding what we're going to do because he lives in the house with the dude, so it's not that complicated. But he and I have talked, and right now, from going off of what's been going on, he's the guy. Now the reality is nobody has a position. Now everybody might say, "No, you can't be talking like that." Well, he's gonna have to earn it just like everybody else. And,
okay.
But again, you asked the question: have I talked with him? Yes, he's a very respectful. Hard-working young man. I went out and watched him at track practice. I've watched him at 707 practice, and he's a good, hard-working young man.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned Baylor. The coach in Baylor,
yes.
Art Briles, is like a disciple of the air raid Mike Leach. He's sprinkled from that tree.
Yeah.
Now is what can we expect from Jacques Carter if he's the starting quarterback or whatever? Is he your RG3, or is he? You want him on something else? Because the spread could be a run first quarterback and a balanced quarterback. But is he RG3 or is he somebody else?
Well, I mean, I would love to have him be that dangerous. What they have to. What they've kind of, overlooked with RG3 is that he throws the ball, very well. But he is a definite run threat. And I think Jacques will be that kind of guy. I think, we're going to put him in situations to make you respect him as a runner. One of the things that we feel like we haven't seen is a natural running back, but we also have some new kids that are coming out and want to be out there. So we'll develop somebody. But I think he's going to be that guy, that dual threat that runs the ball, that throws the ball, that puts pressure on people because of his option ability. And I think he's going to have a great year this year.
Okay. Hey, who else should we watch?
The reality is, just being perfectly honest, I don't know many of the guys by name because we only, meet, and I haven't gotten the reps yet. I haven't. I took a different approach coming into the program. In the past, I would come in and I just, kind of move the incumbent guys out of the way, and I'd take over everything. I'd be running the workouts. I'd be running the 707, and because I felt like I needed to do that in order to learn who the guys was. Well, in this environment, I felt like I needed to do a better job of making sure that the kids here knew that I respected and cared enough about the coaches that were here that were going to stay and try to work with them to allow them to do what they were doing. And so I haven't had just being frank, I haven't had the reps with the guys in order to learn their names. Now, I know faces and I know bodies, and the guys that have been working out after school, I know the guys that I can look at and say, hey, they're gonna give us an opportunity to do well.
Okay. All right. And, how and why is Laley going to be a Laley program? I mean, a winning program?
Well, how is we're going to honor the idea of being hardworking and disciplined, and everybody knowing their role and doing their job.
Okay.
And I think anytime that you have the foundation, the tools, the elements that we have. I mean, we have athletic kids, we have fast kids, we have access to some big kids. We have some really big Hispanic kids walking the hallway, but that they hadn't played football in a while or whatever. So if we get a couple kids my size on the offensive line, you're gonna get exactly what you were talking about, that downhill smash mouth type of environment. But the how is we're gonna be disciplined. We're gonna make it fun and exciting, so those guys will want to participate and want to be out there, and they're gonna want to execute at a high level.
Okay.
And like I said, why? Because like I said, we're gonna make it fun and exciting for them. We may do what you say and be the throwing it around, all the bells and whistles kind of thing. If that's what gets them excited,
gimmick offense.
Then that's what we'll do.
Auburn. Hey, so one of the most important things, and I know we get to talking about football all the time, is the academic aspect of it.
Right.
I'm sure with the parents that are listening, is the academic part of it. What are you going to employ to make sure that these guys are getting it, doing good on and off the field, mostly off the field, because that's going to be probably the most critical aspect of it, because the core of your team are going to be like some of the older guys, and it's very important for them to, to be on there, to be ready.
Well, I think, one of the – I don't think it's a misconception. That may not be the proper word to use. I think one of the things that, I mentioned in the very beginning of the interview, one of the things about me that people are going to start to see once they take a chance and really look inside. The reality is you're talking to me tonight because it was important to my mother for me to do what I was supposed to do in school. It was important enough for me to get a degree, and now I'm able to have this job. I'm able to be a teacher, but that's really the only way that I can coach football. Now, some other guys do it, but I'm coaching football because I did the things in the classroom that I was supposed to. So I'm not that example. Now, there's some guys that play pro ball and had that experience, and they shared that with high school kids. But what I'm sharing is if you do what you're supposed to do in the classroom, that's going to give you a chance to take the next step and help reach your potential so that you can have a chance to go to college and get it paid for. So you mentioned it, and the reality is, and the truth is, this is a college prep program. This is an academic first program. We're just using football as the carrot. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. We're using football as the carrot to encourage them to use for that thing that they want, to make them do what they're supposed to do in the classroom and off the field, in the community. Be good citizens. Stay out of trouble. Don't do those things that might cost them their future. So, and we just get to use their desire to play football as the thing that encourages them to stay on the right path. Go to class. Come to study hall. Do your work. Be qualified because the scouts are going to come. They're going to trickle in this spring, but I promise you, within no time, they're going to be scouts here ready to interview and talk to our kids and give our kids a chance to go play college ball. And they will be, if they do what they're asked, they will be qualified.
Now, are you Bill Belichick or are you Pete Carroll for this discipline? Because Laley had a very bad incident, that led to them getting demolished. Mm-hmm. Are you do you walk with a big stick? No pun intended.
No, I got you. No, I would think, before and you're no cupcake zone, guys. So you don't let somebody kind of walk down the middle. So I would say I would lean more towards the Belichick side of it.
Okay, I'll ask you this question. The leader of your team, let's just say the best player on the team, Shaq West Carter, you find out, and he's a smart person, so
right.
He has a 2.0 grade point average. Just barely make it.
Right.
Are you starting him?
Yeah, there's no reason for him not to play football if he has the grades to be eligible. But here's what's going on behind the scenes that nobody ever sees. What happens is people say, "I can't believe that they're letting him play, and he just got a 2.0." Well, the reality is this: if he doesn't play, he hurts those other 45 or 50 kids that are depending on him to help them get a win. Okay, he hurts them. But what most people miss is that when we get off that field, Jacques is now in study hall for the mandatory 2 hours. Okay? He's also doing, extra sprints or whatever. So, and he's also getting calls from our academic coordinator at night. Did you do this assignment? Did you turn this in? Did you do that? He's got to get up. We work out at 6 in the morning, so he'll start having to come in at 5:15 to do study hall before we work out, a few mornings during the week. So I'll punish him. I won't punish the team, but he will be held accountable for his desire. Now, if he came to me and said, he's a great football player, great high school football player, but he says, "Coach, I don't care to go to college. I just want to graduate. I just want to play high school football and have fun. I don't really care to go to college." Well, then I'm gonna be there to support him and push him so that he's eligible to play high school football.
Okay.
But if he said, "Coach, I want to play for Vanderbilt, or I want to play for Miami or Florida State or something like that," then I'm going to say, you got to come and to study hall, you got to do this, you got to do that, because if that's your goal and your aspiration, you're not doing the things you need to do in order to get prepared for that.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't mean to put that name, but I heard he's a very smart kid.
Now here's the idea. He has to be ready for stuff like this. Yeah. If you're going to be the guy that's on the front page of a team that nobody expects to be successful, but we're going to start hitting people in the mouth and making them recognize that we are going to be successful, he's going to have to be ready to shoulder that kind of pressure. Okay. And so he's going to have to be ready for it.
Okay. All right, this is no cupcake zone, and I saw Rodney, ex-football player, throw a little jab in there. He wants me to get into the controversy, and I'm going to get into the controversy. Okay, right, I'm going to get into the controversy. Anyways, how did you find out about this job?
Lately, hadn't been a secret to me. To be just frank with you, I've looked into this job 3 times. Once as an assistant and twice as a head coach. This is the second time that I've looked into this job. So the area is not a secret to me. As I said, I've been I was a head coach at Moorhaven for 2 years, and we played teams here in Naples. And so when I was getting ready to leave Moorhaven, this job came open. I think at the time they hired Coach Stewart. So I talked to Coach Stewart about maybe coming and being an assistant, but we made the decision to go on and go to Orlando. When Coleman was hired, I didn't know him until until now, but at the time, I looked at the job, but we had family issues in a situation, and so we were going to have to move to Alabama. So I didn't pursue it, hard. I just had a couple people inquire about it. But then when it came open this last time, and we were freed up from the family stuff in Alabama, I said I really want it, and I want to try to get down there and take the job.
Okay. So did you know what you were getting yourself into?
Well, it depends on your definition of do I know what I'm getting myself into. There's always things, and what the beauty of having been to 12 different high schools Every school has its problems and issues. Ego is an issue everywhere you go. And I've been that guy that's, I've been fired from a place once before, and I've had some, some kind of feelings about that, about the guy that came in and about his ability to be able to take over what I'd built up and I'd done. But at the same time, as far as what I'm getting into with the kids and the community and the history and all of that stuff, I don't really worry about that stuff. I just come to work every day and work my hardest and trust God to move me into the direction that I need to move into. And that's all I can control and worry about.
Okay. So have you spoken to Comer?
No. And the reality is I really wanted to. I have, no hard feelings or no problem. And I understand him, having a desire to not, feeling a little upset and it's still fresh or whatever. But I made up in my mind, when I pursued the job and was hopeful that I'd get it, that I would talk to him about, staying around. Right. But again, he's made the decision to move on, and that's fine. I don't have any. I don't know him at all. Right. I wouldn't know him if he walked up. And so there's no controversy. There's no problem between he and I because I don't know him and have not, said anything to him.
No, it's the reason I asked that question because I just wanted to make sure that you know how much he's meant to the community. How much he means to Lately High School. Imagine, let's just say, a player like Ozzie Newsome, right? Mm-hmm. What he means to Alabama. Alabama guy went to University of Alabama. Mm-hmm. If you were the AD that said, you know what, Ozzie, you need to go. Right. That's the type of impact that he has. Mm-hmm. Because he grew up right down the street, mm-hmm. was a star at Lately, went to Wisconsin, one of the biggest recruits that they had for in a long time.
Right.
So that's what he really meant to the community. And have you got a feeling of that, or did you underestimate that at all?
Frankly, no. I mean, everything that I've seen, everybody has been real open and accommodating and accepting of me.
Right.
So, and I don't mean this in any kind of way. My wife is going to be probably real upset with me that I say this. The reality is I don't really recognize or feel that anybody is, still hanging on to that. Or at least they don't present it to me.
Right.
And so I think, the kids have been coming up and introducing themselves and they're excited. I think, we mentioned some other things earlier in this interview about the nature of Alabama. And it is not it's a systemic thing, and it's not just exclusive to Alabama. Florida is not allergic to a little racism themselves.
Right.
And so our environment is conducive for there to be some hard feelings mm-hmm. with as far as that's concerned.
Right. There's going to be people that got sour grapes, period. They're going to, we have one right here. His name is Rodney, but I ain't going to mean to call you out there, but he's just sour grapes.
Right.
But anyways, and I can understand that, because, Comer, I talked to Comer. He was actually on the show, stand-up guy. Mm-hmm. Everybody was, rooting for him because, he's the story the narrative that everybody wants to hear. Right. That is the story that everybody, but you know how life is. It never happens like it's written. It's supposed to be written.
Yeah. What I'll say this, and I don't know. Like I said, I don't know any of the details or any of that. I've been a guy that's went through some turmoil and had some hard choices made about my career and life and family. What I'll say to all of those people that are out there that have the sour grapes or think that someone's been done wrong or something's happened, I would challenge you to really look into the details, the behind the, we all, have some stuff to say about what's going on. We like to tell, our side of the story. As one of my good friends like to say, there's a very thin board that only has one side. So there's some other sides to any story, and I would challenge people to look into that. Now, again, remember, I have nothing to do with that.
Okay.
I had nothing to do with the decision for him to be gone and me to come are two completely different entities.
And I said that I preface that you don't owe
no. So what I'm saying, to the people that feel that there's something going on, the reality is, yes, there is something going on. There's a systemic problem with and I'm not talking about just our administration. I'm talking about across the board.
Exactly.
That's because of that's one of the things that's the main goal of a program that I'm involved in, and that's to mentor, guide, and lead young black coaches, not just black coaches, but young coaches of color, so that we get more opportunities to be head coaches, and we're prepared when we get there.
Okay.
That's kind of what I'm about.
Yeah.
And like I said, I would challenge you to look into the details to make sure.
Oh, absolutely.
That bandwagon you about to jump on, it ain't full of grenades or something like that.
But let's go. We're gonna get into the tough questions right now.
Okay.
Those were kind of layups.
Okay.
This is the tough questions.
Okay.
Okay. And you know what you just said that because I'm going to ask you this question.
Okay.
Okay. Let me just say it so you really understand what I'm saying. All right. Comer. They let Comer go,
mm-hmm.
and on the surface of it, there was a lot of people felt like there was a little bit of racism. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's that's how that's just how it is. They just felt that, right?
Yeah. It was
now because they did that, and that's the general feeling. Do you feel? There's a couple people, and people have said this to me, that felt that you were almost like a token, because you know what? We got rid of Comer, and we can't go ahead and put a white coach in there. We have to choose a brother before everything goes. What do you have to say about that?
Well, the first guy that was a black president of the United States had to be the first guy, no matter how mm-hmm. or why he got the job. He got the job, and he's done what he done with it. Whether you like him or not, he's made some important improvements and and did the job with respect and honor. I don't really care how I got the job. The question will be what I do with the job. That's the thing. So, as far as me being a token, I'm going to just be frank with you. All you got, whoever ends up listening to this, and it might go on in forever, especially since it's on the internet. The absolute reality is, I spoke to it a minute ago. There is a lot of unfairness in this business, or in a lot of business, especially as it relates to color. And anytime somebody this is not me, beating my drum or slapping my chest or anything like that. Anytime one of us can get an opportunity to do what we're capable of doing, then I think it's a good thing. And again, it still will come down to what I'll do with it. But again, if I am a token, I want to be a good token.
Okay.
And so, the reality is they had 50 applicants or more, whatever they said they had.
Yeah.
I don't know how many, black guys that were interviewed, but I'm going to say this, and I want whoever hears this, I want you to write it down, because I've lived this all my life, and I'm going to be honest, it kind of pisses me off a little bit that I've had to, live this way or be this way. I guarantee you I have lost or not gotten interviewed or have been told no a gazillion more times because I'm black than getting a job because I'm black. Okay? If I have gotten this job because I'm black, it'll be the first one that I've ever gotten.
Okay. All right. More tough questions.
Okay.
The
you call that tough? I thought you said this was no cupcake zone. That ain't tough. That's real. It's real. It's hard out there for a young black man. Yeah, I'm just being honest.
But the number one thing that the naysayers love to throw,
okay,
is the 8-32 record.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Please explain.
There is no explanation. We were clearly not successful at what we intended to do. If winning football games is the only way you judge a program. Now that sounds like the consummate anti no cupcake zone answer, but I wanna speak to the idea that I have never been and nor will I ever be intending on our program only being about wins and losses. Now, there's nobody out there, all of you guys that want to ask the question or want to put it up, I promise you there's nobody more pissed off about the 8-32 than me. Nobody. Period. Okay? So the reality is this. You want to make sure that you're doing the things that you need to do to impact those kids in a successful way. And I feel like we did that. We weren't ready to win. I think I went in and I changed that program tremendously. The very next year, and I have him, he's trying to get me to join LinkedIn. The quarterback on that team when I started was an 8th grader. Okay? The year after they fired me, he was a 5th-year senior. They went 7-2 and made the playoffs. Okay, so through the time that I was there was a lot of changing of culture and changing the mindset, and we weren't ready to win yet. And sometimes it takes a little longer than you think.
Okay, all right. The other thing is so many different schools in 12 years. 12 schools in 18 years. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that's really plagued lately is consistency.
Right.
Continuity. Mm-hmm. They've had, in the last 10 years, they've had, a couple coaches.
Right.
Please explain.
Okay. Well, fortunately and unfortunately for me, I've had since that time, the time you mentioned, the 8-32 or whatever. It was actually 9-31. We had the team had to forfeit to us, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. We lost on the field, and that's what counts. My family has been a mobile family. My wife is a stay-at-home mom, and my daughter is homeschooled since the school system at that place where I didn't do so well win-wise failed my daughter. Meaning they weren't really ready to offer her the level of education that she was qualified to receive. So, but before then, I've been truly pursuing my jobs, and the topic has come up in this interview. People of my background and heritage don't get a whole lot of opportunities to be head coaches. So a lot of those places, I would say, 4 of those places were places that I went in and I invested and tried to demonstrate and show myself capable and quality, and realized pretty quick that the system, the establishment, the higher-ups were not going to allow me to be the head coach there.
Okay.
And I decided that, and my family, and at the time it was my wife and I early on, and then all 3 of us later, that if I could not conceivably be the head coach at that place, then I wasn't going to stay there and keep putting blood, sweat, and tears into that place.
Yeah, that argument is a little bit tired anyways, because if you look at the resumes of most
coaches, and it's the business. It's really
the business. If you look at Nick Saban's he's got a laundry list of places that he's been in a very short period of time.
Alabama's just the longest place that he stayed.
Yeah, that's just the nature of coaching.
I want to say this, and let me put this out there about that. I have also reached a point in my career where I truly desire to be stationary. I truly desire, like before, if things weren't right, if the administration was, kind of backwards, or there was a little bit of things going on, because of my expectation and my desire, I would say, hey, if they're not going to do it right, I'm going to get out of here. Mm-hmm. But I've decided that at this time in my career, I'm older, I haven't had a chance to be a head coach in a while. I'm gonna do the extra things, or maybe not put up with, but try a better way to accommodate some of those little headache things, so that I don't just walk away from it so easy. My true heart is to try to make it a long term situation.
Okay, all right. You guys remember Bill Belichick was let go in Cleveland, so hey. Right. Hey, so before I go, address, because I've looked at a couple articles, and there was a couple, people that wrote some, disparaging stuff about you. But one in particular, I'm not going to say a whole bunch of people.
Okay.
There was a couple, beefs with players. Some players felt slighted by you, and some parents had something to say.
Right.
Can you just talk a little bit about that?
That was in that same environment. And it'll happen. I don't know that it'll happen exactly that way again, but it likely could. That young man, I know exactly who you're talking about. That young man, of course, in the article and in the interview, he sold. Like I said, there's an awful thin board that only has one side.
Right.
He sold his side of the argument. What was not in that article, or what was not in the conversation, was the idea that he quit twice and walked out of practice, and was asked by me to not leave, to stay, and he left practice. And when he came back, I didn't allow him to come back. It wasn't that I kicked him off or ran him off, or I did something detrimental to his career. So he says he was only a marginal player anyway. But what happened was he left. I just made the decision not to accept him back.
Okay. All right. That's it. So. With 12 schools in 18 years, why is this going to be different?
As I said, my approach.
What have you learned in the past? Like the mistakes, you being an assistant coach, you being a head coach. What have you learned that's going to make this experience different?
I think, like I said before, my expectations are still high. My desire to do well and to be excellent is still the same. I think what's different about here than I've experienced in some of those other places is, I got an extra burning fire. As a young guy, and this is the problem of our youth now. As a young guy, you don't think anything's going to ever happen to you. You don't think you're ever going to, you're ever going to get. You're never going to die. Nothing's ever going to hurt you. You're invulnerable. You're invincible, so to speak. And now I realize that if I walk away, like I walked away, I didn't get fired at Moorhaven. I left. If you walk away from your passion and your love, you don't know how long it'll be before you can get back in. Okay. And I know that I'm going to hold on. To be perfectly honest, I'll hold on a little bit tighter than I have before.
Okay. All right, we're gonna close it out, man, and thank you so much, man. Just drop a jewel on the youth right now, from your experience, because you're walking into, a situation that, that's probably not. It's not going to be ideal just from the, the background noise that's going. Right. And no, I was going to ask you to drop a jewel, but I would say, what have you done like in the community? I mean, who have you reached out to?
Right.
because the culture is a little bit different.
Yes.
The Haitian culture is going to be really prominent in lately, and also the Spanish culture, Mexican, Cuban culture, and all that stuff. What have you done to reach out to that? Because I think in where you're coming from in Moorhaven, the demographic is probably a lot different than what it is here. To get acclimated with everything, what have you done to reach out to the community? Well,
I've definitely been fortunate enough to have a couple people introduce themselves to me. We're currently, taping this interview in the office of C.J. Noel, who's a Laley grad, very prominent in the community, knows a lot of people. A lot of people know him, and he and I have, started to form a relationship, and are friends with each other. I consider us friends already. He says he's, going to support me, 100%. Also, I was at a camp this weekend. You and I spoke and was introduced to Gene Paul and his sons. We're running a camp over there. They're very prominent in the community. I think they're going to be allies for me, and that I'm going, because of my attitude, and that is to ask for help. I think they're going to be great champions that can translate for me the differences in the Haitian community as opposed to what I've experienced before. I've experienced the Hispanic community, and those guys, I think I understand a little bit about that, and I think I understand our young Haitian guys. I have to do the right things in order to show them who I am. Like I said in the very beginning, if they understand who I am, I think we'll be fine.
You know any Creole words?
No Creole words, but
Sakafet?
No, not yet. But I'm going to, and I'm gonna tell you that when I'm with my kids now, I let it kind of hang out. I give them a little bit of a hard time, and I'm a big guy. For those of y'all see, kind of on the screen, but you'll see I'm a big guy, and so I'm adept at taking fat jokes. I know the guys are gonna really get me or whatever, but I shoot back.
Yeah,
and I'm all
They don't sell Twinkies anymore.
Well, I'm good with that. I never really. I was. I
wasn't a Twinkie guy.
No, I wasn't. Not
Little Debbie's.
No, I'm a honey bun guy.
Okay, honey bun. Okay,
honey bun guy. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Hey, so you got to get on that griot, man. That's the plate for the Haitian people, man.
Yeah. I'll eat now.
Yeah.
Hey, let me. I hadn't met many dishes at all that I don't like.
Tacos, man. You guys gonna have that anyways, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I was talking to CJ, man. We might have a cook-off, and he's gonna be part of it.
Oh, I can burn now.
You can burn?
Yeah.
So what's your because I heard in Alabama, before the games, boy, they got
you can get it all now.
You get it all out there, before the games.
Yeah.
So what's your specialty, man? What do you?
I mean, I have a few specialties. I would say, in that hand food kind of category, tacos, in that meat kind of category. I can make a steak taste like butter. And melt in your mouth like butter, rather. In the soup type category, I got chili that'll rival any chili you'll face. I also do a mean beef stew, and I'll be honest with you. I'll throw my oxtails and rice out there with a few people.
Okay, all right. That's what I'm talking about right there, man.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, man, thank you so much, man. Before we drop a jewel on the kids, a jewel on the kids, and I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, not at all. I mean, it's there. It's what I do. If I could say anything, I would say, don't underestimate a couple things. One, don't underestimate your ability to be great. Not all of us are meant to be, I use this term. Not all of us are meant to be kings, but we all have a crown out there somewhere in something. And, don't underestimate your ability to be great. And then the next part of that is don't underestimate the obstacles and the turmoil and the hardship that you're going to have to find something inside of you to get you through in order to be great. Because there's always going to be something come up. Life is going to happen all the time. And if you can somehow find the strength within and the power within to overcome those obstacles, I think you got a chance to be successful.
Okay. All right, man. Hey, man, thank you so much again for coming on No Cupcake Zone, man. Anytime. You know what? Long as you let me on the field, to do a live interview.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come in a Naples game because you guys might not like me.
We don't want to have you behind enemy lines or nothing like that. But we play here. Mm-hmm. On the 20th, we play Ely. I definitely would, like for you to be there. Maybe we can start, try to work some type of partnership where if we might be able to figure out the equipment and the internet. Maybe
we're gonna get it figured out.
Maybe we can broadcast our home games, webcast them on the internet and have some no cupcake commentary as opposed to that soft cookie stuff that goes on sometimes. Nobody want to say nothing hard or bad. I'm a respectful guy. Mm-hmm. I'm know that you got to do things the right way, and you can't be going around cussing your bosses or insulting the people you work for or whatever. You got to, get your stuff done. But at the same time, I don't mind, telling the truth. And the truth is, like I said, it's difficult for us out there, and I want to do everything that I can to give us an opportunity to be successful. Yeah. And in the meantime, in between time, I want to show these young men that there's an opportunity for them to go as far as they are willing to work to go. It's not going to be given. Nothing's promised, but you can go as far as you want to work to go.
Yeah. Man, I want to see you win, man. I want to see you win because my nephew, he's also my godson in Haitian culture. He's called a fiel. Okay. Your uncle and also like his godfather also. Okay. But he's going to be in your high school, in a couple of years. So I want to see you win. I want to see you successful. You know what? I mean, I talked to Comer on the No Cupcake Zone. Stand-up guy, phenomenal guy, real solid guy. But I just met you. You're a solid guy. Hey, you guys listen out there. This guy is a very solid guy. He didn't have to do this, and he got on here and did it. So I got to commend him from that. So give this guy a chance. There's going to be some people that have sour grapes, like I said, but, winning solves everything. So long as you don't beat Naples High, we'll be all good, man.
As long as I beat Naples High, they'll definitely stop, hey,
the coconut. As long as you get the coconut back?
If I get the coconut back, we'll get a lot of slack, bro. Okay, I promise.
Okay. Yeah, you go buy yourself a couple years at least.
Yeah, that's what
all right, man. So, hey, thank you so much again, man. I'm signing off, man.
All right. Great.
All right, No Cupcake Zone. Make sure to go follow me on Spreaker, iTunes, and go to nocupcakezone.com. This will be available.
Wow, that's big. I said that's big. I like that. Man. So how long we do? An hour and what?
Yeah, we did an hour. My phone cut off. But,
yeah,